Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the X Fan Show. It's a special show tonight. I am flying solo because my man, Arlington, ended up having to do something. But, ladies and gentlemen, tonight here on the X Fan Show is a very special show. Because as you see, the title of the show, From Fan to Owner. And I was just talking to him before I went live to get it. He said he had to get something to drink. And you guys all know me, and I know this guy knows me because we were just talking about the first time I met him is when we were in San Antonio for the 2020, was it the 2023 version of the XFL? Man, Josh, before I go any further, you know me, I mess up names all the time. That's why I go by a nickname, Spurge. How do you say your last name?
Mayor.
Mayor. Okay. Got it. All right. So there we go. We're with Josh Mayer. As you see, I say from fan to owner. This is a guy that's been in this space quite a long time, almost as long as I have. But you were in a different type of the space. You weren't the XFL space from 2020.
No, I started in 2023, and essentially, the Brahmas were announced. I'm a huge football fan, and I was hungry for content, and so I'm looking all over the place for Brahmas content. I can't find any, and me and my cousin at the time basically just looked at ourselves and said, "Well, why don't we just start making content and see if anybody will watch it?" And here we are.
See, that's what me and Arlington did back in 2018 when Vince announced it. 2019, we started at that time it was XFL STL Talk Show. And we said nobody was covering this league. So why don't we start a show? And then here we are, in 2025? We're still talking about this stuff, But you didn't really just start in the UFL or the XFL. You started before that.
No, that's when I started getting into this realm and content creating. I was a huge Commanders guy.
See,
That
I
was
thought you did
before
a
the
Commander
AAF.
show.
Yeah, but I did not do a Commander show. I
Okay.
did not. I was a huge fan. I probably did some stuff on Twitter or whatever, but I didn't actually start making content, doing media and all that stuff until 2023. So I'm pretty new to everybody's realm. But in 2022, post merger,
Right.
another one of the well-known groups, United Football Media, as well as a couple other groups. I had like when the leagues merged, I had like 3 or 4 media groups reach out to me and be like, "Hey, we're looking for a Brahmas person. You've already doing it. Come do it for us." And I was just kind of like weighing my options. I didn't know who to go with. I'm new to this whole thing, and I guess I went with United Football Media because the guy I was talking to right off the rip said, "Hey, I already have a player you can interview if you join us." And that was just like the world to me, where they're like, "Hey, I can sign on with this media group, and they already got me a player." And I don't know if you guys remember Chedi Okiki. He played back in the day, and now he's doing his coaching thing. And I still have contact with him on a regular basis, and just the nicest guy I've ever met in my life. So that's why I went with United Football Media, and I'm still part of that group. I'm still doing it to this day, and this other Toros thing too kind of landed in my lap. So
well, yeah, we're gonna get to that because I think that's a very interesting thing. So let's talk about. They talk about the history of football in Texas, right? And as you see, you got all your Texas stuff up there. You got your Aggies. What is that? What's that M1 behind you? See the Cowboys. What's the M1 behind you?
The blue in there. That's the Roadrunners here on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's Roadrunners, Aggies, Commanders, Cowboys.
Commanders. Okay, that's the one I'm like, okay, the Commanders. And then what's the other little pennant right next to the Cowboys?
It's a video game pennant. I don't know if you play NCAA football.
Well, of course.
If you pre-ordered, you get it. And I'll tell you another thing. Look, if y'all look real close, I'm an Aggie, right? And right here, there's a bullpen sticker I stuck on there when the bullpen still existed. That's because there's a Longhorn behind that, and I just don't want any burnt oranges around me at any time. So
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? That's nice. Okay, so you're a Commanders fan. Football, a professional football. Well, let's go back to the 60s for the original Continental Football League. Neither one of us are around for the 60s. We weren't around, right? Explain the history that the Toros had for the city of San Antonio back in the 60s.
Yeah, so they were founded in 66. They took the field in 67. They played under a Texas league, a specific Texas league, and then they played in that league for a few years, and then they were taken in by the Continental Football League. Their overall record is like 80-15 or 85-15, and they won back-to-back championships inside that Texas league. And so, and at one time, they were even nominated to be inducted into the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame, they didn't get the votes they needed to get in there. But now that we're active and operating again, we're definitely going to try to get that going. But so that they operated back there back in the day. There's a great article on COFLfootball.com, also on SASnapcount.com that goes into the history of the Toros. But essentially, they were the first of what turns out to be many of those spring, summer alternative football leagues that were coming in here to try to rival football in the fall. And so they got a great history down here in San Antonio. And crazy thing is, one of the players for the Toros was also my dad's high school football coach. And then some of the players from the Toros are in the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame. So there's all these crazy connections to San Antonio and the team. And every day someone else reaches out. A guy hit me up on Twitter the other day and was like, my cousin tried out for the Toros and made the team, but then never showed up to play the day of. And then I've had all these crazy people just give me all this. One guy told me his first football memory is watching a Toros touchdown pass with his dad in Alamo Stadium, which is kind of cool to hear that kind of stuff. And I'm really hoping he can make it out to some games this year. He'll be one of those guys that he's going to walk into the stadium, whatever stadium we're in, and get down on the field and experience the new Toros, because we're going to definitely embrace the pass. So I want another one of his football memories to be watching a touchdown pass with the Toros uniform out there. So it's going to be awesome. We're still looking forward to it.
See, I love that. And I'm a huge wrestling fan. And, three of my favorite guys, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, when they did their thing to change the world. And to me, what is Arlington doing? I'm going to murder him. Sorry, Josh. That's Arlington. You know how this show is. We're fan crazy and all that
Let
stuff.
him in.
Right? Well, he'll get in. When I see his microphone unmuted, I'll let him in, That's what I love about this league. This league is about changing the way that we see football in the United States, bringing it back to the community, which I want to get to some more of that. But I want to go into, so that's the history of the Toros. Then it goes away. NFL is not in San Antonio forever. You guys either had to root for the Oilers before they left, and now the Texans, or you had to root for the Cowboys for all those years. Then, what was it, 2019, as I like to call it, Charlie League comes to town.
I still hate Tom Dundon.
I'm just saying, Charlie's League comes to town. You guys have the Commanders. You guys do great. What did that mean? Because I'm wanting to get to how you got to the point you are as a fan, having teams ripped away from you.
Yeah, there was a couple of teams that were just before me, and there's definitely guys that are real active in our community, pro football community down here, that would go back further to the Gunslingers and the Wings here, and there's probably teams that I'm missing, but I'm a little younger, so the Commanders was the first pro football team, outdoor NFL style pro football team in San Antonio that I participated in. I was season ticket holder, and it was just awesome because we always wanted pro football here. I wanted it. We had the stint with the Saints and the Hurricane Katrina and the Superdome, and then we have San Antonio people like Tom Benson that have owned NFL teams, and Red McCombs, who have owned NFL teams. They make all their money here in San Antonio, and then they own football teams in Minnesota and New Orleans. And we've always just kind of been out in this outlier. And, pro football. We wanted pro NFL style football, not knocking on indoor football and all the other kind of football, but hey, high school football, college football, NFL, pro football. We always wanted NFL here in San Antonio. And so this pro football, this pro NFL style football, the original USFL was before my time, obviously, or else I would have been a huge supporter of that. And then the other thing is a lot of people don't realize is San Antonio was one of those markets everybody wanted a piece of, and the USFL and the AAF are both kind of rushing to market. And we kind of, as San Antonio, I didn't know how to feel because I was really wanting the USFL Gunslingers history to come back. That's what I was hoping for. And then boom, the AAF shows up and we got Commanders. And I was like kind of torn because I was like, oh man, I really like the USFL, but hey, we got the AAF and we're going to go do this. And I'll tell you, any team that was ever branded in San Antonio that fit San Antonio, it was the San Antonio Commanders. You can kind of see the logo up here on the map behind me. They had the Texas Star in it. They had the Alamo in it. They had the sword in it for the military. San Antonio's Military City, USA. They named them the Commanders. The colors inside the shield is the official color of the city of San Antonio, and they mimic the San Antonio logo. Whoever was part of the AAF that branded the Commanders did such an amazing job that I guarantee you they got 5,000 to 10,000 people in the stadium just because of the history that they were able to take and put into that logo and that shield. And to this day, if I could have purchased the San Antonio Commanders copyrighted materials, that's what this team would be called. I can promise you that, because I still think it was perfect. Although the Toros do have a lot of history here, and we're totally loving our new logos. I love this tee, dude, by the way. It's amazing. But the Commanders was just perfect for San Antonio. And then they always made sure to have military appreciation. There was always they would invite a whole military base to the game. And, we were getting to that 25, 30,000 people a game limit. And it was just, we were leading the league in attendance. The dome was always packed. We weren't winning maybe as much as we would like to win, but we definitely were the quote unquote St. Louis Battlehawks of the AAF, right? Like you guys haven't really won anything, but you always get a lot of people there in the stadium, and we really respect you for that. And that's kind of how we were in the AAF. And I really grew up. And then the other thing that a lot of people don't know is I'm an Aggie. I'm a huge Texas A&M. I've had season tickets since 2003 up there. Been going to games since the 90s as a young person, still in like high school and stuff. And so I've always had this deep-rooted love for football inside Texas A&M, the history and the tradition and all that. It's unrivaled. It's amazing. If anybody gets a chance, go check out a game there. You'll love it. But the last game the next game that they were supposed to play in the dome was against the Memphis team, Memphis Express, I believe is what they're called. And they had just signed Johnny Manziel. Yep. So I had got to see Johnny Manziel play ball in high school live. And then, of course, I got to watch him while he was in college because I was a season ticket holder there. And I was so hyped up, man, that I was going to get to see Johnny effing football play a professional game in the Alamo Dome. And let me tell you, that was probably one of the worst sports fandom days of my life when they announced that the whole thing was bankrupt and it just kind of went away. Well, it was just crazy.
So Arlington texted me. He says, I'm coming in because Arlington kind of feels, I'm just going to bring him in. Arlington feels the same way you do about Charlie's League. Hi,
that's good. We agree on something.
How are you?
First off, sir, good evening. And Josh, thanks you for coming on, man. I had to go on and work at short notice, but it's all good. But yeah, I used to be one of the biggest fans of Charlie's League. And when it's funny, the day that Memphis signed Johnny Manziel, I'm in Memphis. I'm there in the city. And I was at dinner with my now ex-wife and her brother and sister-in-law. And we saw the announcement that Johnny was coming, and that, like you said, that next game was in San Antonio. And then the game after that, it was going to be his first game in Memphis. And so I was sitting there like, oh my God, they actually let Johnny get in the league. And it was the league concept was was good, when it started. And yes, I became a fan of the San Antonio team because they had the loudest crowd. They had the loudest, fandom. It was big. And when Charlie's League went to crap after week 8, after we found out that nobody was getting paid after week 1, I was like, oh Lord, here we go. Another spring football league not going to see past another year. And so I was a big fan. As a matter of fact, I remember telling
Are you going to keep gushing about the Commanders, or are we go on with this interview?
We were amazing, dude. Do you remember that hit for Washington? Remember the linebacker, Washington, and he put that hit on that San Diego free guy? Knocked his head off or something?
Yes. Because Mike Martz was coaching that team, man. Yeah. See?
It was amazing. Dude.
It's one of the greatest moments in that league. Okay? And it was in San Antonio. So you got to lay off them.
Listen, I love San Antonio. San Antonio has a very special place in my heart. We all know that. We have all know the story about me and the wife, how San Antonio is that special place for us. We love San Antonio. So, Josh, you guys lose the Commanders. The XFL season's here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, COVID hits us. We lose COVID. So we have no football. And then The Rock and Danny say, we're bringing football back. We're buying the XFL. And San Antonio Brahmas is adopted and coming into the San Antonio market. What was your thoughts on that? You're like, oh, we got football again. What was your thoughts on that?
You seen the meme where the guy takes the credit card and bangs the money and just kind of says, just take my money. So the second that was announced, I was like, I need to spend some money on this right now. I even had the before we even knew what our team was going to call, I just had the generic XFL San Antonio shirt. I still have that shirt, by the way. And it was like hanging in a place in my closet so I can look at it and always remember that this is how I felt the day we were getting professional football back here in San Antonio, professional outdoor football. And it just, I didn't even care what the team was going to be called. I was just so excited. Take my money. What do I got to do to help make this happen? That was my mentality. What can I do as a grown, more mature person in the city that I grew up and was raised in? What can I now do to get involved in the pro football community that we're developing here? And what do I got to do to help get it here? And so that's what I could do at the time, be a season ticket holder, go to all the events. I got to meet Mike Riley. And you know what? If I could walk over a few feet away from me, I have the first ever players meet and greet. And what they did was it was like 100 players. I don't remember the number of players, but it was like almost double what the rosters were going to be, maybe in that 80 to 100 range. And before they even started training camp, before they started cutting players and all this stuff, they brought everybody to the Alamo Dome. Everybody's season ticket holder got to come to the Alamo Dome. And I got a card, and I took this player card, and I got everybody to sign it. I got every coach to sign it. I got every player. It wasn't just me. There was thousands of people doing this. And so there's thousands of these signature cards, and it's still one of my favorite pieces of memorabilia I have right over here. Then one of the local microbrew beer company, Alamo Brewing Company, came up with a Commander's beer. I still have a 6-pack unopened. Obviously, I can't drink it now, but I got the 6-pack unopened over there. And anything I could get my hands on, Commanders, it was just amazing. And I will say something about the group that was here in San Antonio. The players were all amazing. They were so nice to everybody, so giving of their time. Mike Riley, if anybody ever has met that man, he's just the nicest, most compassionate, caring, free with his time, giving professional football guy. He's now in the college football selection committee, in case you guys are wondering. So he's working with that, but he was just the nicest guy down here. I got to meet him a few times, and I felt like I was part of pro football in San Antonio. I met the coach. I met the players. There was a bunch of Aggies on the team that I followed in college because they did that regional thing, which I thought was just great. Oh my gosh, we're going to get actual Texas A&M football players to play professional football in San Antonio. my whole world is complete. And then there was Longhorns and stuff like that, and Baylor guys on the team, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. And so, man, and then the live game, people might not always go back to this, but that whole live game betting where it was like you could guess what the next play was and get these little points or whatever. And to me, that was like one of my first pieces of the game where I was starting to think not about the play that I was watching, but maybe about the play that I was going to watch next. Or I started trying to get into the minds of the coordinators or the players or whoever. And what is this play trying to set up for the next play? And it was a stupid little app that they did, which the conspiracy is that's why Tom Dundon bought in the league so he could steal that technology. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was a rumor back in the day. Everybody remember.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was the whole deal. And so I remember sitting in the stadium, dude, with my app pulled up, trying to guess the next play, and I'd guess it, and then I would watch, and boom, I would get it right. And just that sense of being part of something, an accomplishment, and watching the game. And then if the play would work and we would get a first down, I didn't actually call the play physically, but I predicted the play, and who knows, maybe I wore the same socks and the same shirt, and I predicted the play, and it worked. So I was taking a little 1% credit for it. And anyways, that was the thing, man. And then I would be remiss to say that if it wasn't for also my friends and my family and my wife in particular, she's been on a couple of the podcasts with me every now and then. If she wouldn't have indulged me being so involved with the Commanders at the time, and then the Brahmas and now the Toros, that's half of what makes it awesome, is looking over to your buddy and high-fiving them when something cool happens for your team. And I mean, everybody feels that. That's what it's about, right? So anyways, that's the first major taste of that. Although I was raised a Cowboys fan and I was always going to Aggie games, but when it started happening here in San Antonio, 10 or 15 minutes from my house, I still live 15 minutes from the Alamo Dome, 15 or 20 minutes from the Alamo Dome, and that's the other thing that sucks with everything that happened is game days. When I go to College Station, it's a whole weekend. We're out 3-4 hours up there, go to the game, find somewhere to sleep, 3-4 hours Sunday. It takes up your whole weekend, and it's almost it's a lot of work and effort and time to do all that. But it's worth it because you get to be there and watch the game, especially now that we're 9-0. Take that, T-Sips. But anyways, for here in the Dome, they're just 15 minutes from my house. I could go down there and tailgate. I could run an errand after the game. It was so awesome, and such a great time, and the family and friends and all that. So it was awesome. And so I think that was the beginning of the passion and the really want to and desire that I had to be part of pro football in San Antonio, which has led me ultimately later down the road today. But anyways, the Commanders were a big part of that. Obviously, I still have the flag hanging up in here, so they still have a little piece of me,
a little piece of you still. So here's what I love. So then the Brahmas come. Then that's when you we were talking about, me and Arlington. We decided to do our show, XFL STL Talk Show, talk about the Battlehawks. And then it's morphed into what it is. You say, well, I ain't really going to talk about the Brahmas, so I'm going to start my thing on the Brahmas, which became rather successful. Not going to deny it. It came. You guys took a different approach than what me and Arlington did, But it is what it is. We don't judge it. We quoted your guys' show a few times, So now the Brahmas are here. You're doing the bullpen and all of that stuff, right? What was that like for that 2023 season into the 2024 season?
Well, the 2023 season, if y'all go, we still have our YouTube channel. We'll still be putting content on there. I haven't done anything in a while because I've been extremely busy.
I wonder why. I wonder why you've been busy.
But I do have a full-time staff person that's come on board to run that stuff for me now. So there should be some content coming out. But if you go back to San Antonio Snap Count is what it's called now. Used to be a Brahma Bullpen, and all the episodes are still there on YouTube. And you watch that first year, it was literally just two dudes talking about stuff they didn't know much about. Compared to, especially when you compare it to like a coach having a podcast or a player having a podcast. Okay, this is basically two fans just talking ball podcast, and it's fine. We were having fun. We weren't making it for other people. We were making it for us. We were making it for hopefully if we could. The goal when we made our first channel and we made our first podcast, when we sat down and said, "What do we want to accomplish?" Our goal was if we could get one person. If we made an episode after every game, our goal was if we could get one person to go to one game based upon one experience we shared, and we were sharing stuff from the tailgate and da-da-da-da, but one person to go to a game that wouldn't have gone unless they stumbled across our Twitter post or our YouTube or whatever we were doing. I said, dude, that is 1,000% win for us. And so we just went into it as a couple of dummies, and then year two happened. And when year two happened, the season, the merge, and the season was leading up. And like I mentioned, we were getting all these more well-established media groups reaching out to us. And I don't want to say all of them, but pretty much any of them that the top three you can think of at one point called us, right? And so we were like, dude, people want us to put our content on their channel, and they like just talk Brahmas. That's all you want to do. We want someone to talk Brahmas, and you're already doing it. And ultimately, we made our choice. But when that happened, I got access to people that have been doing podcasts, written media, websites, and even working for Fox News at one time. I don't know how many people know the history of United Football Media.
Very interesting one.
They were running Fox, the USFL, Fox Discord. You know, these guys were plugged in as plugged in could be. And like I said, they were already had contact with players and coaches. They didn't a first name basis with coaches. And here I am, some dude literally from the cow pasture. If you guys ever watch my show, this is where we're some dude from this cow pasture. I'm living outside his windows, a cow pasture. I built a house in a cow pasture. And I still got cows out there too, by the way. I bought a daggum Brahma bull just because of the Brahmas. And anyways,
now what are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do with it now?
Oh, it's already been taken care of, and we've been
eating well.
We've been eating well. We've been eating well. But anyways, so I got all this direction in my quote unquote media career that I just wound up starting out of nowhere, just because no one else was talking about the Brahmas at the time. And I've actually been able to learn, gather a lot of information, have people provide me a small amount of training. Hey, don't do this. Hey, do that. This is what's important to the community. Don't mess up over here. There's a couple of times I messed up. Don't get me wrong. We've all done it if we tweet before thinking, so to speak. But having someone say, hey, man, you might want to think about X, Y, and Z next time. And just little directional paths like that ultimately led year two to our content getting better, being part of the group, led to me starting a sports column. I actually, I did go to college, and so I had these skills that I acquired that I used in my professional life, but now I started using them in this hobby, what I was calling it at the time, writing content, doing research, digging into stuff, interviewing players, interviewing coaches, which ultimately led to what I think is one of the few podcast type personalities that actually produced enough content, gained enough trust from the UFL and from the representatives for the Brahmas to where I was a credentialed media member for the San Antonio Brahmas in the press conference, going in the Alamo Dome for free now and sitting in the press box and having them provide food for me. And I would sit there on my laptop and write little stories. And to think in a 3-year transition from dumb guy in a room that just wanted someone to talk about his new favorite team to before the league folded, being a credentialed media, producing content for a well-known organization such as United Football Media in this space. The more I think about it and just sit back, it's actually kind of nuts, to be perfectly honest with you.
See, Arlington, does that sound familiar? Because that's how it was for
Way
us.
Too familiar. Way too familiar.
Arlington there, when he was living in Houston, he was credentialed in Houston. Me, I was like, St. Louis really doesn't need it, so I was going to Memphis. So I was driving the 3 hours to Memphis to help cover that team and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was very interesting. Okay, so now you're in there. You're in that media group, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing the stuff. Season's over. The new investor comes in, Mike Rapoli. With all the stuff that you had seen and all the investigated stuff that you've done, Did you see the writing on the wall for the Brahmas?
I did not. I was completely blindsided. I can tell you that when it first happened, right in our group, it was always like, okay, what domino is going to fall? Because you don't bring in a billionaire into something that's successful. That billionaire's coming in for a reason. So that was our first question. This billionaire's coming in, what domino is going to fall? Because if the status quo was working, Rapoli would not be here. He would have not have been called. He would have not have, nothing would have happened. So that's the first question. So you already read the writing on the wall, and some of the teams were pretty obvious, right? Like Memphis only having, 1,000 people or 1,200, I think was the average, but some games were way there. The writing was on the wall.
Way less than that. I could tell you there at one time I was able to count, and it was 322 people in this stadium.
Yeah. And so we knew something was happening, but from the San Antonio perspective, okay, we already had confirmation that there was a contract signed with the league for the following season. Contract signed, day scheduled. A lot of the outsiders were given the saying, oh, well, the writing was on the wall because you didn't get your 5 home games and the scheduling was messed up. Look, man, I'm from San Antonio. Nothing's going to replace Fiesta. Okay, number one. That's been happening since before the NFL existed, so shut up about that. Number two, we had the Final Four coming right during March, right, which is during spring football. Hello, spring, March, do the math. So we had the Final Four, and we had Fiesta events going on down here. And so if someone says the writing was on the wall because we didn't get off our home games, they're not from San Antonio. They don't know any better. It was perfectly understandable. We didn't like it, but it's perfectly understandable that we didn't get a home game till week 5. I really didn't even care that St. Louis got one of our home games because realistically, in business sense, I would have rather they found somewhere else to play down here. And at the time, not knowing what I know now, obviously because now I'm a team owner and I'm having to deal with maybe what the UFL is having to deal with a little bit. But at the time, I was like, man, play somewhere else and all that stuff. But we dealt with it. So writing was on the wall. The other thing is I know the guy who's in charge of all of San Antonio facilities, which includes the Alamo Dome. He's up in the city of San Antonio government as high as you could get without being, the city manager or something. These guys, I know the guy. Yeah, we got a contract. Yeah, the deal with them is a good deal. And so people started talking about how the dome was too expensive. I know exactly how much the dome cost to rent, by the way. All right. I know exact. I right now with the Toros could afford to rent the Alamo Dome. And I'll just put it to you that way. So if anybody wants to tell you the dome was too expensive for the UFL, they're idiots. Okay. We were averaging 12,000 people on our worst day in the dome. Mm-hmm. We were top 3 or 4 attendance. We were top 3 or 4 attendance every year. The first game of the season, the first Sunday, which we didn't get. I don't want to sound like a Birmingham fan where we complain about the schedule and that's why our attendance sucks. But we got Friday night games, 2 of them. We get 4 home games. 2 are on Friday night. Okay. Mm-hmm. Those are the hardest games for working folks to make it to. Because we work on Fridays. I'm a working folk like everyone. We work on Fridays. But I made it to the games. We got and one Sunday game to open the season, right? Mm-hmm. That Sunday game, we had over 14,000 there. The atmosphere was amazing. Dome was awesome. We got our butts kicked. That's what happened a lot due to other things. And on a different podcast, we'll get into the behind-the-scenes drama of the Brahmas that season, which caused a lot of our headaches. Anyways, yeah, so we were breaking even with the first don't quote me on the exact number, but I did the math, and I think it was like the first 2,000 or so fans that walked in the door paid for the facility rental for the Alamo Dome, right? So now there's 9,000 fans worth of profit in there, and that's not counting if they bought merch, food, I'm just talking about the tickets to get into the dome, okay? So we're going to just throw it out there right now. First 2,000 or 3,000. If someone wants to fact check me and come at me, and from the UFL. By the way, total side point. Sorry to ramble, But you guys,
No, this show, this whole hour is for you.
Okay, LinkedIn and Facebook is pretty funny now, right? Because everything is kind of transpiring, happening. I have notifications that UFL executives are checking out my LinkedIn, which I think is pretty damn cool, by the way. But I even like screenshot it. I'm like showing my wife, like it's like the UFL executives looking at my professional profile. How about that? But anyways, so it was definitely affordable and definitely doable. And I kind of ramble on that a minute because we knew we had a contract. I knew the league was making money playing games there. Or at least worst case scenario, they were making a profit, whether what the exact numbers were. I'm not inside their room, but they were definitely making a profit. So we and I 100% felt we were safe. So safe that literally, guys, I can't even begin to tell you, 2 to 3 weeks before the announcement was moved, I invested about $10,000 into my website. I spent another $2,000 or $3,000 supporting like a local charity that the Brahmas were part of. I was so vested in this team that I was spending any extra money I could come to help fund myself, to be media for the team, help fund the team any way I can, help support the community any way I could. One time, I work in a rather large department. One time, I bought tickets for anybody that wanted them. I said, "Here's a list. Put your name on it. I'll buy you 2 tickets to a Brahmas game," because I wanted people to be in the dome, and I wanted to put my money where my mouth was. And I literally spent untold amounts of money. I don't know how many thousands of dollars I spent just on tickets. I spent tons of money on doing everything I could do to make this team, the San Antonio Brahmas and the UFL, as successful as possible as I could in San Antonio. And I stopped counting. And if I told everybody the amount of money I probably spent on the Brahmas over the 3 years, you'd probably all fall out of your chairs.
I don't even want to talk about the money that I've spent on
this.
I
can imagine the travel and all that.
I mean, in the 2023 or the 2023 season, or no, the 2022 season. Out of how many games were there? 43 total games?
23, dude. 2023.
Yeah, 2023. I went to
34 of them, wasn't it?
34 different games, not just Battlehawk games.
Yeah, all of them.
Not just Battlehawk games, but it was different cities that I'd went to games. So I didn't want to talk about it. All right, so.
Now think real quick. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Real quick. Now imagine thinking what you just said out loud, and you wake up one morning, you go to work, and by 10 a.m. someone calls you, says, "Hey, the team you've spent 3 years and tens of thousands of dollars was ripped away from you, and you know it's 100% because some jackwagon doesn't like the way it looks on TV."
You want me to be honest with you?
Yeah.
I mean, let's not get it twisted. Me and Arlington have probably been the biggest supporters of the XFL, UFL, all of that. I have felt like that since the mergers happened, that they just don't care anymore about the way the fans. And if you look in St. Louis, our attendance has dropped 5% every single year. It hasn't rose. You're talking about an established team, right? Isn't your attendance supposed to rise? Not drop? Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't lost the team, but I've lost faith in this league. You losing the team leads us to this.
Yeah.
There's a good segue right there, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. You just said it.
You scan that little QR code right there, and it'll take you to the San Antonio Toros Facebook page.
No way. Sweet.
Yeah. So you can go and see all of their info. It's got their website, all of that stuff. And go like and follow, hit the like and follow on their page too. Get them up some there, So with all of that said, Josh, we're at the big moment. The team is gone. You're sitting there. You're like, sons of a bitch, my team is gone. I've spent all this money. What am I going to – I'm going to buy a football team.
So first of all, I want to apologize to the guy on Twitter when you posted this show was coming and they begged us not to talk about the UFL. I don't know. Did you see that comment on there?
No, who said that? Who said that?
Someone put out there, don't talk about the UFL. I'm sorry. I wasn't here to bash
Wait.
the UFL.
No, we're
I
not
was
here to
at my
bash the UFL.
perspective.
It's part of the story. It's part
Yeah.
of your story.
It's all exactly. You
It's
said it.
substance to what drove me to do this. And I would support the UFL and the Brahmas the second they came back to San Antonio with the same amount of vigor and appreciation. But that's what got us here. So the Continental Football League gets announced, and I'm doing this media thing. So I've already reached out to the league, made contact with the owner of the league. I made contact with Quincy, who's the owner of the Texas Syndicate. And I already had Quincy on my podcast.
You have. You were going to
I was like, well,
show.
Yeah, I had him on there just to learn about the league and try to bring the fans. I created a channel just to cover the Syndicate. My new goal was, okay, I'm going to cover the Brahmas in the spring, the Syndicate in the summer. There it is. Join Stampede, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Scan that QR code. It takes you right to it.
Let's do it. And so I'd already kind of had a few interactions. Plus, the year before in the IFA, the Caballeros were supposed to be here.
Yep.
So I was already going to cover the Caballeros, and there's some definite interconnectivity. That's the first time I met Quincy. He was part of the Caballeros kind of group. And I went down for a meet and greet at the Menger Hotel and met Hal Mummy, met Quincy, and met some of the players. And kind of we just drank beer and talked ball, and it was pretty cool. Turns out Hal Mummy, who's going to be the coach and owner for the Caballeros, grew up like 10 minutes from where I'm sitting as a child. And we had so many crazy stories that we talked about being in such close proximity to each other. So that was kind of neat. And so, yeah, that's where it all kind of had originally started. And then that was like on a Monday or Tuesday. And I was like, man, this is cool. I'm going to, cover this Austin team. I got the San Antonio Brahmas. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to next year. I'm getting all geared up. That's why I started putting money into the website and getting everything going. And I wanted to be professional as possible. And then my wife's the one that called me, and she basically called me with this real sad voice when she first says, "Did you hear?" And I thought she was talking about some family member or something was in trouble or something like that. When your wife calls you real sad and asks you if you hear something, and I'm like, "No, what are you talking about? I didn't hear anything. I've been at work." And she's like, "The Brahmas are gone." And I'm like, "No way. Where did you hear that?" And she's like, "It's all over Facebook." And I'm like, "There's no way they're gone. That we're third in attendance. Why would you take something?" And the thing that people don't realize is year one controversy or turmoil because nothing's definite. Fans don't want to buy in. We've been burned so many times. Year two, you have the merger. So the common fan is already like, look, this league's already failing. Look, they had to merge with another league just to survive. So you go into year one with no support. You go into year two with no support. You're going into year three, and it's like, okay, finally we'll have a nice, quiet off season, and we know who our coaches are. We have a good idea who our players are. We can start building some faith in this team. We can start building some camaraderie and trust. And then, unfortunately, what was the news going into season three was the strike. You got a brand new baby league that just merged the year before, that's only existed for 1 year before then. You got this crazy, like there was people reporting that the quarterbacks weren't going to show up for game one or something. And there's all this stuff going on behind the scenes. And it's just like, when will the common casual sports fan have enough of faith that this is going to last to where they're willing to do it? People like us three, we're going to do it no matter what, because we're hardcores and we love it. We're going to do it. That's why I said earlier, if the Brahmas come back, I'm in, right? Even if I still own the Toros, I'll still be going to Brahmas games in the spring. It's just going to happen, I'm a season ticket holder at College Station, Texas A&M, season ticket holder, UTSA, and I go to the Cowboys games. Not a season ticket holder up there, but I do go to Cowboys games. So I'm in football all the time. It'll just been another football game for me to go to. So it was truly a gut punch. And so the league makes a post, something about that, and some random, if you go to sasnapcount.com, there's a story on there. It's just titled The Beginning of the San Antonio Toros. I actually quoted the tweet in there if anybody's interested, where some random person who now obviously I have a few little discussions with him on direct message, but he just made some posts at the COFL or at me on Twitter, like, do you think now that the Brahmas are gone, the CFL will come to San Antonio? and I retweeted it and I put at COFL, what do you think? Well,
Yep,
see,
I remember.
they were already following me.
Mhm.
I was already following them because I was going to do stuff for the Austin team. And next thing you know, in my direct message, I get this deal. Hey, the league owner wants to meet with you. And that was like on a Friday. And I said, cool, I'm going to College Station. I'll be driving home Sunday. I can have a 3-hour conversation on Sunday with whoever they want. So they're like, okay, we'll call you at X time on Sunday. Great. So go to the game, whatever. And I'm talking, of course, I'm daydreaming to my wife while we're just doing our thing up there. I said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I get like to do some media stuff for the league? Like I get to go, do some stuff and it's going to be awesome. And she's like, yeah, it'd be cool. And I was like, I can't wait to meet whoever this Manny guy is, and all that. And I had no idea. Right. And so I thought Sunday he was calling me to talk about helping out with media or helping with the Austin team because, we're having ownership groups. We're having board meetings.
Right.
We're going to have fan groups, advisory boards and all that. I'm like, cool, man, maybe I could do media and be on the advisory board for a team. Right. That's what I was thinking.
Right.
So we start talking and we're talking for, I don't know, 2 hours or I don't even know how long the conversation was, but about halfway through I was driving so my wife could obviously hear it. And I wanted her to hear everything going on too, because she's just part of anything. Even if I'm covering the team, I'm traveling, I'm gone. She's got to be supportive of it. And we're kind of looking at each other. And about halfway through, I get this snap like, hey, man, this isn't about media. This is about a team in San Antonio. So my mind went from media to, oh, man, maybe I can help find some people in San Antonio to get in touch with the league and get a team down here, right? And so that's where my second thought went to, like, man, I might know somebody, right? And I wasn't thinking I was going to be the somebody, but towards the end of the conversation, I figured out, because maybe I'm a slow learner, I guess. I said, dude, he's talking about me being part of this thing down here. And I was like, oh, man. I'm like, oh, man, what the heck's going on here? So we keep talking. Well, then we start talking business model. We start talking numbers. We start talking plans. We start talking the public funding portion of this. And we start talking and we start doing the numbers. And I said, wait a minute. I said, hold on. I think I can find some people to make this thing happen. And so I told Manny, I said, hey, give me a couple of days and I'll call you back. So the first thing I started doing is calling the other people that are my ownership group. I called a buddy of mine that I'm in a business with, another buddy of mine I'm in a business with. These guys I've been in business with for 15 or 20 years. And then crazy thing is, I said, who else would be useful and could help and would be just crazy enough to try to pull this thing off of me? And I said, man, you remember those guys from United Football Media that called me 2 years ago? Well, I called Connor. I called Ace. Everybody knows him as Ace.
Called Ace.
I said, hey, man. And he's actually the first call that I made. I said, hey, man, this is what's going on. If you come on board and handle content for us, for the team, I mean, dude, this would be something. I said, are you tired of reporting the news? Let's make it.
Right.
Let's make it. And he was in from the rip. My other buddy that I'm in a business with, 50-50 partner, I called him up. His name's Robert. And I said, hey, and I've got this dude in dozens of crazy business adventures over the year, and they've always turned out well. And so I called up Robert. I said, hey, dude, your wife's going to hate me, but I got another crazy idea. And he's like, I'm in. I said, well, don't you want to know what it is? He's like, I don't care. How much is it? And I'm in. Because me and this dude have literally made so much money together over the decades. He didn't even care what it was. And so he's like, yeah, dude, what does it cost me? And when do I need to show up and where do I need to be? And I was like, cool. So then another guy that I'm in a business with, he has a specialty. He sells anything sports related. And I don't want to put all his business out there. If you guys ever get to talk to him, he can show you. But he does this for a living. If it's a football, if it's a piece of grass, if it's a goalpost, if it's a tackling dummy, if it's a uniform, it's a cup, whatever, this dude sells it, and he sells it for one of the largest manufacturers and provider of such materials in the whole country. And so I'm like, well, I have a business with that guy, and I trust him. So I called him up, and I said, and the other thing with him is he knows everybody who owns a football stadium in any part of the state of Texas. In case you guys are wondering, he knows everybody that owns every football stadium in some way, shape, form, or fashion, because that's what he does for a living. So I said, well, that could be pretty useful for me too.
Exactly.
And, so I said, you know what? Here we go. I called them all up. They're all crazy enough. And we immediately purchased the franchise from the league. We came up with our principles, our governing, our bylaws, and we came up with an operating document, who's doing what. We started taking votes right away. For some crazy reason, they asked me to be the team president, probably because I'm the knucklehead that got them all involved in this in the first place. And here we are, man. And, you know, I have a professional life and I manage a large organization, and it's the same thing. I think I don't like to brag or anything like that, but I've been pretty successful in my professional career to the point where, you know, a lot of people they tell me now, like, we knew you were going to do something like this. And don't worry, you're going to be a success. Everything you touch succeeds. It's a lot of pressure to live up to. But realistically, with the group that we have together and the contacts we have in our area and everything we're doing behind the scenes right now, every day I just look at my wife and my buddies or whoever I'm talking to at the time about it. I'm like, every day some magic thing happens to where I just think to myself, there's no way that this fails. And to put it in, I'll give you a story. This is how crazy some things are. And I won't share names and stuff with you guys. It'll come out later, but I don't want to get anybody prematurely announced. But I go to Dallas Cowboys game. They're playing the Washington Redskins. We still call them Redskins down here, whether y'all like it or not. They're playing the Redskins. And before the game, the day before the game, we go out. We're in Dallas, and I'm out there with buddies. And, of course, we're going to go have some drinks. Well, who winds up sitting next to me? Former Brahmas player that I go-kart raced at a event here in San Antonio that I actually was rear-ending and bumping, putting him in the wall so I could pass him, to be perfectly honest with you. So we recognized each other, right, because of the media thing and because of all that. And I just say, he's like, what do you got going on? I said, what do you got going on? We're talking. And he says, I'm hoping to play somewhere, blah, blah, blah. And we asked me what I had going on. Well, I was like, dude, to be honest with you, in about 7 days, they're going to announce that I'm the team president.
Football team.
Yeah, in about 7 days, I'm the team president of a team in San Antonio. And he's like, I'll play for you. And I'm like, well, dude, I don't even know. I said, I don't even know yet, man. We're still figuring stuff out. He says, here's my number. I'll come play for you. Call me when you're ready. And this guy's this is a football player now that I was a fan of while he was playing for the Brahmas, right?
Right.
Another crazy thing, I get a crazy message from someone that worked for the Brahmas that would be useful in my new endeavor. And he's like, hey, man, I'll help you out. I'm like, wait. What do you mean you're just going to help me? He's like, yeah, man, I'll help you out. I'd love to see a team succeed, and I'll do anything I can do to help you out. Next thing you know, I get another phone call from another player, and I get another message from another player. Then I start having coaches call me. I had a coach call me. What's today? Today's Wednesday. I had a coach call me on Tuesday afternoon and talk to me for an hour and a half about how much he would love to come down here and be a coach for San Antonio. And it's just nonstop. And then the 360 degrees of connection across this whole fiasco has been just unbelievable. And I will just tell you that everybody in San Antonio that supported the Brahmas have been nothing but supportive for us. We got all of the big groups are being extremely supportive and helpful. We have media down here. I couldn't even begin to start telling you the stories of the guys that I've been talking to. Like, there's a media guy that's owned a media company for 25 years that wants to come in here and help promote the Toros that used to go to Toros games. And we had like an hour-long conversation, not about current Toros, but about old Toros games. And he's like, I just want to make this a success. I'm going to do everything I can do to make it a success. I've had people tell me, who do you need to talk to? I'll open the door for you. It's crazy. Like, I could just talk for hours, and maybe one day all the names will come out and everything will be definite, and we'll be able to talk about it more clearly. But every time I walk out of the house or go into a grocery store, I trip over someone else that says they want to help and make this thing a success. And it's been absolutely just amazing. And there's literally zero chance that this thing fails. Zero chance. And even you guys, right? Even you.
That's
even you
why I
guys.
said, that's why I wore the shirt tonight, changed the world. So I want to talk about this. So Manny calls you, you guys talk, it dawns on you, oh, damn, the dude wants me to own a team. You said earlier you wanted it to be the Commanders. Okay. Now, I know there's trademarks and all that stuff, but you guys, how did it get stuck to the Toros? Was it because of the tradition of the Continental Football League? Or was it something you and your group agreed to?
100%. 100% due to the tradition. And when I talked to Manny, he said, hey, the CFL used to have a great team down there called the San Antonio Toros. I'm kind of a traditionalist myself. I'm kind of a history guy myself. I'm one of those guys that could listen to you, a 70-year-old man, tell stories from back in the 50s for days and just be enamored with it. And so here I am talking to this football guru, genius guy, and he's talking about the Toros and the history of it here in San Antonio. There's, like I said, great pieces of history documents out there. And so immediately fell in love with it. Now you can see the logos are new. We do have the old logo, but the logos are new. And Connor Ace is like, I want to make the logo. And I'm like, dude, that's why I called you, bro. Get at it. So our logos, he made them 100% from scratch. He spent at least a week and a half, 2 weeks on the bull logo. The T, as you can tell, is probably a lot quicker. But he made everything from scratch. There's no AI, nothing made in our logos. And I don't know, dude. This hat does look pretty slick. I do have to say.
I mean, listen, I am going to say this. I mean, do you have a fitted hat? Do you have a fitted hat? Oh,
I don't wear hats backwards. So I'll probably.
Oh, Arlington.
Put the T up on there.
Look at that thing. How do you get one of those, Josh? How do you get one of those?
First thing you do is you buy the team. That's rule number one.
Oh, damn it. How do you?
They're coming to the store. Don't worry. They're coming to the store. But we launched the store. We got some cool stuff on there.
Right.
The store's going to change a lot. It's going to change a lot. And as we see what sells more, what people want more, the hats were actually, believe it or not, man, I'm a hat guy. I'm bald. I wear a lot of hats. The hats are the hardest daggum thing to get onto the store. The shirts and stuff are a lot easier because a lot of that stuff, they'll make them as you order them, but the hats are a little bit different, a little bit harder to get.
Right.
So we're working on it, but we got a lot of things going on, and we have to, the old saying is, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. So we got our initial store out there. And in fact, I think it's a great store. There's probably more items on there than what I thought we would ever be able to roll out in such a short period of time. Thanks to James Kreiner. He's our chief, we're calling him the president of facilities and merchandise. James Kreiner, he's doing an amazing job with that. And that's the other thing too. I don't micromanage. I said, James, can you do X? He's like, yeah, man, I got it. And then he goes and does it. And it's amazing. We meet once a week. Every week they get a deliverable that we all have to meet for certain aspects. These guys meet them every week, report back, and just kind of wrangle everything up. I've been meeting with the league, probably one-on-one with Manny 2 or 3 times a week. And then this past Sunday, we had our first league-wide team owners meeting. I don't know if y'all saw that on Twitter where I kind of teased we did that. And yes, some of the teams that have not been announced yet were also in that meeting. Of course, y'all heard about the Dukes.
Heard about the Dukes today
on Tuesday. And so that's cool. And like I said, there was other teams in there too. So it's going to be awesome. Stay tuned.
So, okay. So now we go from fan. Now we're owner. Okay. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't think it was going to be. What has been the biggest eye-opening thing as a fan turning to an owner for you?
Well, first of all, the biggest thing that kicks me in the face is with the plan that the league has put together for us to follow. Sorry, my hat's crooked. The plan that the league is providing to the owners, the legal support, the documentation, the promissory notes, and what they're delivering for us as owners almost makes it to where if you are just willing to go to work, if you're just willing to put in the hours that it requires and the calls, and you get yourself a good team, that's a big thing too, right? Nobody's doing anything by themselves. If you're a one-person owner, you've already failed. If you have a good group that was willing to go to work and you all have a little expertise in a different area, there's no way that we do not take the field. That's the other thing too, right? It's so simple. And I think even when my wife heard the business model and the sales pitch, and if the league would give me permission, I'd tell you guys everything about it word for word. But I also have to be cognizant of the fact that if they want that out there, they'll put that out there. So I don't want to put it. But the short part of it is, if you just follow the roadmap that they're providing you, is, when you buy a franchise like a McDonald's or whatever you're doing, they provide you proprietary information, and they provide you with distribution for your food, real estate for your property. Here's how you run it. Here's training. Here's this. Here's what you're supposed to do, blah, blah. That's what Manny's doing for us that other leagues were not doing for those ownerships and those groups coming in. The UFL's not doing that because they're all owned by the same group of
by the same guy.
Right. And so the other thing too, what makes the NFL successful? Well, the NFL has guideline standards and then auxiliary ownership that has a whole bunch of people that working to make that successful. The league doesn't have to make San Antonio Toros successful. The league gives us the opportunity to be successful and the tools we need to get there. But it's our ownership group and our people here locally that are going to make this successful. And that way there's not a huge lift by one person in some office somewhere or something. It's one person providing you a resource and then your group doing all the lifting. And to me, it's just crazy that more organizations are not like this. I don't know. Obviously, I haven't owned a whole bunch of football teams, as you guys know, but I'm just saying, I'm just telling you that I really don't see how this doesn't work with all the support and the roadmap and the great team I have down here in San Antonio and the players and the coaches. Man, guys, I think that would be the next thing I would tell you. There are so many players and so many coaches that buy into the model, that buy into the community first, the fan, for the fans, by the fans. There is just so many people that love football that when you have a professional athlete tell you that he'd come play for you for free if he has to because he wants to play ball, and then you compound that across the whole country and how many players out there are willing to do that. Look, you guys are willing to come on here in the middle of the night, talk about sports to a guy that you met one time in a parking lot. Those are the people we need.
Well, see, here's the thing with us. And by the way, there's a new QR code right there. And if you scan it, it brings you to this little thing right here, the CFLO Toros website. You can just scan that little QR code right there. See, me and Arlington, we always prided ourselves at being that voice of the fans. We didn't want to be the traditional, give credits to the Mike Lathrop, the buttoned up guys, the guys like you guys at United Media Football. The guy, Mike Mitchell.
You think we were?
You're a little more buttoned up than us. Come on. I mean, you watched a few of our shows, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you're a little way more buttoned up than we were, especially me. But we were always like, we're going to build this show. And we're going to help other fans that want to do shows like this, give them their blueprint. It's for the fans, by the fans. Let the fans dictate the show. And that's what me and Arlington love so much about this league. Now, Josh, I need you to do me a favor because Arlington.
Man, let me ask you this question. Let me ask this question before you go any further because you've been going on at it for an hour anyway.
I've been talking a lot. I know. I'm sorry.
No, you ain't the problem. This is for you anyway because you've mentioned constantly throughout this program about your wife. How big of a supporter is she with you doing this ownership with a whole football team? Because it sounds like she's with it, but I want to hear from you. What is the thoughts of process with her with this, you being an owner of a football team?
Well, if I thought it was professional enough, I would yell at her to come in here and tell you for herself. But
Are you kidding me? Go ahead. If you want to
Say,
bring
bring her
Let me-
in.
You wanna bring her
That's
in?
like,
Bring her
I'm
in.
serious.
let me text her. She should
Wait, Josh,
come in
you've seen
here.
our show,
Put her
right? When
in.
have we ever
Yeah.
been professional on our show?
This ain't the type of professional show that you may
Yeah, this
think
is for
that
the
this
fans,
is.
Josh. This is the kind of stuff the fans love to see.
Bring her in. Tell her to
I'm
come down.
texting her.
I hope she's watching.
I'm gonna get her, but I'll answer it so we don't have dead air or whatever while she's coming.
No, man,
But-
we don't care.
She listened to the same sales pitch that I did, and I might have did something a little sneaky. I didn't tell Manny she was listening until later. In fact, I told him I think the next time I talked to him, and the reason not I was trying to catch him in anything. I wanted a non hopeful dreamer perspective on the pitch, right? Me, I don't know if I'm a dreamer, but I can tell you right now, I'm not scared to dream. My wife's a little bit more logical. She's coming in. She has no idea what's happening right now. But here, they got a question for you.
But
You
no,
don't
you
have to
better
come on
warn her
camera.
first. Warn
You don't
her
have to-
first.
Look, at least let people know you're real. Okay. This is my wife. And so they have a question for you. And if you would go
Hi.
ahead.
Hi.
Hey.
Okay. Arlington, go with the question.
So I asked your husband, how supportive of you with this, him being now an owner of a whole football team?
Well, first of all, not just that. How crazy did you think your husband was
Well,
that he was
yeah,
going to buy a
very
football
crazy,
team?
Very crazy, for sure.
Move
Yeah,
to your
but-
left just a little bit more.
They want to see your whole face.
Oh, sorry.
There we are.
I'm very supportive of whatever he does. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
She
What
likes
did
to.
you think? You wake up one morning and your crazy husband has got you owning a football team. What did you say the next morning when you realized you own a football team to him?
well, I didn't think it was real at first, but I guess it is real.
Were you like, what are we doing here? Why? How did we get talked into buying a football team?
Well, he's done some pretty crazy things before, so
Look, I'll tell you. Well, I don't even know if I should say. Well, you know, the money that I have invested in this football team, I've spent in way worse ways before. So,
And listen, the money
would-
I've spent traveling for the UFL, I
Yeah.
probably could buy into this league
Yeah.
with all of
Yeah.
the garbage money I've spent traveling for the UFL. So I agree with you.
yeah, but obviously, I didn't pay for everything myself. We got 4 of us in there, so we're a
Right.
group, so we're all got the same amount of skin in the game, so to speak. But yeah, she heard the sales pitch.
I mean, I did, yeah. And I shook my head. Okay, that sounds pretty good.
So if you got a guy on the phone that you've never met in person giving you a sales pitch and is good enough to talk your wife into saying,
Yeah, let's do it.
yeah,
Let's try it.
here we are.
There you go. All right, now it's about the fans. This league is about the fans. It's about community. And Josh, here's one thing that I love about this league. I just want to share something real quick. This is something that I love with this league and what this league is doing. So let me get it ready to go. And you even reposted it on your page. This.
Don't bow down to the money elite. No boardroom suits, no backroom.
All right, so we'll go. If you've seen it, it's the theme song.
Community.
That some fans, and right there, I wanted it, that part right there. The community owned is what this league is, right?
Mm-hmm.
How important, well, now that we have your wife there with you, because you know everybody knows who the real boss is in a relationship. It's always the wife. You can get the
Mhm.
wife on board, then you could pretty much do whatever. I mean, I could sit down here and broadcast 7 days a week as long as Amanda says it's okay. She wouldn't care, right? But how important is it to you and your wife and your other investors and this league that this is being built from the ground, grassroots movement by the community?
I mean, it's what makes it different. And real quick, I know that the league, Manny, loved that video, and the editing was done by our very own chief marketing officer, Ace, with the Toro. So he helped with that a little bit. You guys, I believe, made the music, if I correct. But As far as being part of the community, it's not negotiable. It's literally written into the bylaws for San Antonio Toros to be part of the community and to honor San Antonio and the surrounding communities. So everything we do, there's going to be a community aspect for it, and we're going to support it as much as we can. For instance, we have our first open tryout on November 30th, and it's not just a tryout where coaches and players and team employees and officials will be. It's also going to be a food drive, and we're going to do a people food drive as well as a pet food drive, and they're going to get donated to local food banks in the area, and that's what it's about. The other thing is our players and our team, we are San Antonio, man. We live in San Antonio. If you want to meet with a team official or if you want to meet with a player, we're here. We don't have to try to fly in from somewhere else, on Friday or leave late on Sunday or something so that you can have that time. We're here. We are San Antonio. That's the thing. A lot of people are upset because I'm not implying that other teams were not. I'm just saying they didn't live here. I got in a lot of trouble for a tweet. I went to the UTSA football game and we beat the crap out of Tulane that one night on a Thursday night. And I just posted a picture of me and my wife at the game, and all of a sudden I'm in this whole Twitter battle because I just put on there like, we're here. This is where I live. The Download Dome, I just said, it's 15 minutes from my house. So it's different. That's what it means. It's going to be true for the players and for the coaches. If I get down to coaching staff and there's a coach that's from San Antonio, or maybe he coaches high school ball in San Antonio and wants to come be a position coach for us and get a taste of the professional football life, that's what we're going to do. That's how all the decisions are being made. We're making football for San Antonio, from San Antonio, by fans in San Antonio.
Is there any particular? Is your wife still there? Because I got to ask her.
I think her knees were hurting. She's listening.
That's fine. Is there any particular thing that she wants the team to do within the community? Is there anything in particular that is near and dear to her heart that the Toros are going to get involved with?
Actually, we probably haven't even got that far. I know one of the things she's looking forward to the most is going to the games and being part of that whole community type feel of the games. But as far as what charitable causes, we don't know. We're organically speaking, if anybody knew about the Brahmas, there's a group of fans down here that did all kinds of community outreach for the Brahmas down here. And they were out doing all kinds of awesome stuff out in the community. And our big goal is to, instead of having them do it just on their own.
So you don't get into trouble. Without them having the support of the team, which you had the Brahmas.
We're going to do it together here.
There you go.
Now we're going to do it together. That's the thing. We're just going to take something they were already doing out of the pure kindness of their hearts and pure love for their team, and hopefully get them to love their new team. And the difference is going to be we're going to be supporting them and, dare I say, rewarding them for their effort. They're going to get something out of what they put into it.
Josh, is there a position that your wife is going to have with the Toros?
No.
That is co-owner.
I was going to say consultant, executive consultant, maybe.
She's going to be watching the finances, folks. Let's just be honest. She's going to be watching the bills, make sure everything is paid. I wanted to touch on something earlier, and I apologize. I meant to do it, but when you mentioned about the Commanders and the players not getting paid after week 1 or 2 of the season, one of the other things that this league's doing that's a lot different than what I heard from other leagues is, before we're allowed to do on the field stuff, 100% of the coaches and players' payroll gets into an account that I don't touch. Like I won't have access to it. The only people who have access to it is the people from the league, that when the game ends, they hit a button and everybody gets their paycheck. And it's going to be just that simple. Awesome. So there is zero chance. And I'll tell you another thing, because I'm team president, managing partner, and part owner of the Toros. Once that money's in there, it's theirs regardless. Like something real crazy happens and we don't play our 7th game or whatever, I think we're not going to have any problems with that, but they're still going to get it. They're still going to get their full season's pay once everything's signed up and we're ready to rock and roll. There's not going to be no nonsense in this league because that's just the way it's set up. And so players and coaches don't have to worry about being stiffed or shorted at the end and all that stuff. So it's just not going to happen. I won't allow it.
See, this is where I go back to, this is what I love about this league is, like, your wife is involved. The community's involved. The league is actually saying, hey, we're going to get all the teams, the players and coaches money. It goes into this account. Owners, you can't touch it. It's there. It's theirs, regardless of what happens. These guys are still going to get taken care of, unlike some other leagues that have happened in the past. Now, the ownership. There's you guys. So you guys own that big chunk of shares as of right now. But we know that as we've had Manny on, and we've had Quincy on, and we've had Commissioner Kelly on, and now we have Josh, the owner of the San Antonio Toros, and his wife, who is the co-owner, whether he wants to believe it or not.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
The fan ownership.
Yeah.
How important is that? And
It's
was that a
extremely-
big draw to you to join this league?
I mean, it's the only reason why that I'm part of this, to be perfectly honest with you. When my team got ripped away from me and I had that, what can I do to make sure that never happens again? Well, what if I own the team, right, is the thought process. But it's not just me. I'm just a microcosm. What if the 14,000 people that were at the Brahmas home game owned the team? What would a billionaire have to go through to rip 14,000, the team away from 14,000 owners? What would someone who doesn't want to see it the way it looks on TV have to do to rip it away from 14,000 people that are in the stadium that don't care what it looks like on TV because they own it? That was my initial draw to it. I'll tell you that we have a meeting set up this Friday. So today's Wednesday. I had a meeting on Sunday. I've gone through some financial paperwork and legal documents as recently as right before coming on this podcast. And, every day we're getting a little bit more clear on what that's going to look like. When it rolls out, it's going to be awesome. And to be perfectly honest with you, and I'm not sales pitching this, guys. Like, I'm going to be straight honest with you. The people that buy in first will be the people that ultimately have the greatest level of reward, so to speak, right? So the people that get in first will have that preferred position within each one of these teams. So it's going to be interesting to see how quick people jump on board and things happen. And if y'all want me to talk a little bit of what I know about the finances, I will. I don't think.
Well, I don't want to get you in trouble because
you're not getting me in trouble. You're not getting me in trouble. I haven't been told not to. The reason why I didn't talk more about it sooner is because I didn't want to talk about stuff that I wasn't 100% familiar on, because we're learning every day from Manny and from the league too. But what I can tell you right now is what's going to happen is you're going to buy into the team, and you're buying equity into this corporation known as the San Antonio Toros. And the way I can describe it is it's like you're and this might not even be a perfect description, but I think it's the easiest way for normal folks to understand it. You buy a house for $200,000, and then 5 years later it appraises for $400,000. That $200,000 is equity, right? You have built up equity. Now you can take a loan out on that equity and go build yourself a nice outdoor kitchen. People do stuff like all the time,
right?
But that's what you're buying when you buy into these teams. So we have a market cap that's going to be set. You're going to buy equity in that cap, okay? And then after you function and we hit our achievable goals that's set for us, not necessarily by the league, but by the public funding portion and the finance portion of this league. Once we hit this market cap, right, then you're there and you're hit. Later on, after you operate, you get appraised, okay? you get an appraised value and you got what you bought it for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or anything you appraise for higher than what you bought in for, that's equity. And that belongs to you based upon what you put into it. Okay. That's the way the thing works. Now, check this out. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that a league with 2 teams and not made it through a full season is less valuable than a team with 8 and has made it through a full season. And that also has a broadcast partnership and blah, 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 and everything else that comes in.
Wait, are you talking about a team that a league that might have lost $75 million?
I'm
Just
not
last year
pointing
alone?
any fingers at anybody,
Oh,
but
I'm
what
not either. I'm just saying a
saying-
number.
what I'm saying is once all 8 teams, okay, if you buy into the Toros when there's 4 announced teams, as opposed to buying in when there's 8 announced teams, an 8 announced team appraisal overall is going to be higher than the 4, right?
Correct.
If you buy in later on, it's going to cost you more to buy in. And let's say we've operated for 2 seasons. Of course, you're going to praise for a lot more, but it's going to cost you a lot more to buy in, right?
Correct.
And then so you buy in early and the appraisals come back high, you got a bigger chunk of the equity that you own. That
Yep.
you own. You, the fans, I own. A-Train owns. Everybody owns that wants to get. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm buying equity in all of them. Okay? I'm not. I ain't even
Have
going
you
to play with
told
you
the other
guys.
team? Have you ever told the other team presidents this and owners
It's
this?
going to be public. How they could be able to stop me? I'm going to go online and I'm going to buy equity. I'm going to own a piece of the whole league. I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't understand why everyone wouldn't be doing that, you know, and
Well,
there's other
that's
rules to it, but that's pretty much the basics of it.
Right. And that's the one thing me and Arlington talked about is like, how are we going to do this with the X Fan Show? Because, you know, we've been screaming for something, a league like this.
Yes,
And it's
we sure have.
each week we talk to one of you guys, or the more that we learn about this league, we get more and more hyped about this league. And we're like, this is actually the league of the people. And I love the tagline. The People's League
People's
that you
League.
guys have. Hashtag the People's League. I love that. I love that hashtag. I think it's great. And that's what we love so much about this league. Now, Josh, I know you can't say, but I know do we have a stadium deal yet?
Well, I'll just put it to you this way.
I'm trying to get something.
We
to
don't
break.
have to. Yeah, we don't have to worry about
Damn it.
not having a stadium, okay? Because what's happening right now, the reason why we haven't actually selected the stadium, and I'll let you in on. You guys are the first people to know this. Not part of the inner circle down here. We have multiple stadiums that are
Choose from.
pursuing us to play in there.
That's awesome, man.
Love
That is
That's
awesome.
thinking.
I love
Okay,
That's
we
pretty
got-
awesome, man.
We got other people worried about if they'll have a stadium. We have other teams basically trying to play basketball on a tennis court, if you know what I'm saying. Instead, we have football stadiums that hold enough people for us to be profitable, that has the ability to broadcast the games in a professional manner, that's centrally located in San Antonio, and they're absolutely perfect with parking and room and restaurants and hotels all right around it. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing more you could want. And our problem is right now is seeing which one of them is going to, is the word incentivize us enough?
Yes.
to play
Uh-huh.
for-
The
to
bigger,
play
we're
in
gonna
their
have a bigger
stadium?
incentive.
Yeah. Right now they're coming after us. Okay, so when I started, I'm like, oh, I gotta make phone calls, and that's what I was doing, and it went real quick to, man, everybody keeps calling me. So it's an amazing deal, and I will tell you, our top 2 priorities are stadium announcement and head coach announcement. That's our 2 priorities as a board right now. As soon as we got confirmation on both of them, we got deals working on both. We got paperwork out on both. We got legal people reviewing both. All of that's being done. I cannot tell you whether or not this entity or this person, lawyer or administrative body, is 100% happy with every word that's inside the document that I created. That's where we're at. And as soon as they're happy with the words that are in there, we'll have announcements.
So I'm gonna speculate now. Your head coach would be Jim Haslett from the Seattle Sea Dragons. That's
That'd
gonna be your
cool.
head coach,
That'd be
right?
cool. Yeah,
Is that your head coach?
that'd be cool. No, it's
Am I
not him, but that
close?
would be cool.
Am I close?
No.
No.
Uh,
Damn it.
And
No, I
even if
like
you
that.
were, I wouldn't tell you. But
I know, but I like
Yeah.
to speculate on a lot of stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
just speculating it's going to be Jim Haslett. I don't know. I mean, where does he live? He don't live anywhere near you, does he?
I don't know where Jim Haslett lives. I know where the coach that I'm talking to lives.
Well, wait, we're talking to a coach?
Oh, I'm talking to. Oh, I've already had meetings and there's an offer out there. I'm just waiting on the legal review. So
Does Spurgeon to come down and crack some? Do the
No,
mafia
no.
style?
no. We're good. We're good.
Oh, okay.
Look. I'm gonna just tell you right now. We're gonna have a great head coach. We're gonna have a great coaching staff, and I'm not even worried about that. And when the coach is announced, it's gonna make sense to everybody. And we didn't talk to just one either. We've talked to multiple candidates, and everyone's interested for their own means and reasons. And we have a weighted system of we shot for the stars. I'm not gonna lie, we went up here, and up here might work out, and then we have a plan B and a C. But even the plan C has a great tie to the community, and people in South Texas will know the person, and immediately we'll get players and other coaches that want to be part of the deal and work with him. So, but we're still on A. We're still approaching our number one target, and if I had to rate the conversations and stuff I've had, it'd be a 9 out of 10. And I think everybody's it's just one of those things. The coach has to decide what he wants out of his next few years of his career, and then we'll go from there.
All right, Josh. Last thing, because you're a busy guy. First, I want to say thank you for joining us tonight here on the X Fan Show. I didn't really get to do a lot of our spots because the conversation has been riveting.
I talk too much, I know.
No, dude, it was perfect because that's what we wanted to know, is because we're fans. You're a fan. You started as a fan. Now you own a team. You know what I'm saying? And guys, click that little QR code right there. It is sending you right to their website. Right there. Now, Josh, I just have to ask you this. I don't make me pray to my sweet little baby Jesus in his golden fleece diaper, okay? Please don't make me do that. Just promise me you will not use this.
Oh, you don't have a choice, man. You don't have a choice.
Please.
You don't have a choice.
Please.
Look,
Hey,
look,
Josh, do not listen to this fool. Guarantee you, look on your shirt. Look on your shirt. Look on your hat. It speaks volumes. Why not use it? That's
okay.
what you need to ask yourself. Why not use it?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull a curtain back. That was an agenda item on one of our board meetings. I'm gonna let you know right now on previously used marketing versus currently used marketing. And if I have, look, I hate to break it to you, Spurg, but if I have anything to do with it,
Yep.
because as you, no, hold on.
Oh,
Let me
Okay.
finish, guys, before y'all tell me what side you're on.
okay. Okay.
Okay. I wholeheartedly embraced the horns forward for years and did a whole episode to educate
did.
fans the difference between a forward, an up, or a down, because in San Antonio, it took 2 seasons to figure it out. And
It
I don't
did.
like horns up at all, as you can tell by, I don't like horns up at all around here. Horns down are totally fine, but I don't want to upset some of my potential fans. But anyways, A-Train, we're not using the horns forward, man. I'm sorry, bro. It's
Yes.
not
Thank you,
happening.
sweet golden baby fleece Jesus.
I always felt a little dirty using it as an Aggie, and we also don't want to upset any traditionalists. We don't want to upset any traditionalists that are still Brahmas fans and still hopeful that the Brahmas come back. And we don't want to start using or taking anything that
Understood.
that
Yeah,
could
that's what I love.
potentially cause an issue forward. We're not anti-UFL, and we're still pro Brahmas. But don't forget, I didn't rip the team from me, so I do have feelings.
I love that. I love
about
that.
it. So we're respectful, and I'm still a Brahmas fan, dude. There's still Brahmas stuff here.
You got a Brahmas hat right behind you.
Exactly.
And a
That is the
football.
actual game ball used in the 2020 2024 XFL championship game by the Brahmas. That is the ball that
There
was
you go.
snapped on the field.
Yeah.
This hat autographed and wore on the sideline for at least 10 games by AJ Smith. Okay.
Best offensive coordinator
This
the UFL
ball-
ever produced.
Yeah. This ball down here signed by every single player that played in the championship game for the Brahmas. Thank you to my man, Mr. Cody Latimer, for hooking me up with that. That is my favorite piece of anything I own sports related in my life. I got a Johnny Manziel Heisman Trophy on top, in case you guys are wondering. But this ball right here means more to me because someone did it for me as a fan, from a player, showing respect to a fan that just wanted to be a fan. And there will never be another first ever championship game ball signed by every single Brahmas player that put on that helmet and that uniform and went out and gave of their body, mind, and soul to entertain me, even though we did get our butts kicked in St. Louis. But those things are still here. They'll never go away, man. So
Right, exactly.
we're supporters, but obviously we gotta do our own thing, man. We gotta bring pro outdoor football to San Antonio.
Yes, sir.
I love it. I love
Yes,
it
sir.
because this is what the community gets to create, and I love that. And I mean, listen, if the fans do adopt the horns forward thing with the Toros,
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I get it, but
Yeah.
let's build something new. Build something new with this. Go back to tradition and build a new. All right, Josh, before we let you go, tell people where they can find all of your guys' stuff for the Toros and all of that good stuff.
At COFL Toros, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or .com at COFL Toros, that's the spot. Everything's there, nice and uniform, well branded. Thanks to my boy Ace for doing all that. And I want to say thanks to James and Robert for all the hard work they've been doing in making this thing achieve the level of success we've already achieved and also get us on the road to a greater success moving forward. So at COFL Toros, if you guys want to support, we are weeks away from the public funding portion coming out. And let me tell you, I'm gonna tease it. Sorry, can I tease it? I gotta tease it.
Well, first, before you tease, you might want to thank one more person.
Yeah.
You might want to thank one more person, bro.
You
Oh,
might.
man,
Look, you might want to thank one more person.
Get your finger. Look at your left finger. Look at your left finger.
My university? Oh no, yeah. Thank you to my lovely wife who made a guest appearance here and allows me to do crazy things like become managing partner for a football team. You guys say owner, I like to say managing partner for
Managing
the football
partner. All right.
Because
Again,
everybody who buys
you
season
guys are all
tickets
right.
will be owners.
There you go. All right. What's
Yes.
your teaser?
Okay, so if someone would have told me when the Brahmas were coming to town that if I paid this much for a season ticket, I got a hat or a shirt, that would be cool, right?
Right.
But what if someone told you if you pay this, you get ownership, you get equity, we're also going to give you, oh, this always messes me up, an authentic game helmet. What if we told you you'd get not a replica game helmet. I'm going to give you the game helmet that we choose for the league, for the team. If you buy this level of ownership, you want a football too? We're going to give you a football and ownership and a helmet and the certificate, right? Think about all that. And here's a crazy thing. What if you wanted to have a starting player come to your daughter's birthday party? Or what if you wanted, and I'm not pimping out players, don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying. But what if you wanted to, and I just use that as an example, but what if you wanted to have the opportunity to meet a coach or player as part of being an owner, season ticket holder of the team?
Oh,
Think about it, guys.
right here.
Mm.
It's called goosebumps. I got them all over my body.
Why would no one ever do this I still don't have a Brahmas helmet, and I begged for it from the league, from the players, from the coaches. One time I had one in my hand because I went in the locker room, and I still don't have. I had to put it down.
Wait, I have a Battlehawk helmet. Hold on.
Let's see. Well, let's see it. Wait, is it going to be that Viking helmet that I see on?
No, I can't believe you even left the set just to do this.
Oh wait, this is the only thing they gave me.
That's legit, though. You can have fun with that.
Guess.
Yeah,
You say so.
that's legit.
All right, Josh, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to having you on again, even though we're just two schmoes that are fans talking about sports. But we are absolutely in love with this league, and we plan on supporting this league, the People's League, till the wheels fall off of it.
We're all schmoes in love with this league.
Arlington,
Exactly.
you got anything?
No, sir. Josh, thanks for coming on, man. Sorry about my tardiness tonight.
You're good.
I wasn't even scheduled to come on, but here I am. So
Doesn't surprise
you,
me
man.
with your tardiness all the time anymore, bro. I still love them. Josh, with your ownership group, how do you deal with tardiness if they're not available for the calls?
Depends on if they hit their achievable for the week or not. Let's put
All
it
right,
to you.
Arlington, you have to hit it achievable for this week.
I bet you on my NFL picks I got an achievable.
How's your
No,
fantasy
okay.
team?
Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow. This is the X Fan Show. I'm Spurs. Right over there is my partner in crime, A Train.
Oh,
Right
we done?
below us.
You're not gonna let me? We're not gonna do the NFL picks tonight.
No, we can do it tomorrow. Like
Sure.
Josh. Listen, listen. The wife is upstairs. I need to spend some time with her.
Sure.
Josh is a busy guy, Arlington. We don't have the luxury of you just to be at work.
I got to make my money though, man. That's the reason why I'm doing it.
Yeah. All right, Josh. Anything else before we go?
Nothing. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for all you do for the league. Thanks for what you're doing right now for the Toros. It's invaluable. We can't measure what the podcast and alternative football fan community has done and will continue to do for all of us. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, sir. That is it for the X Fan Show. Click that QR code real quick.
It's there.
It's there. Takes you to their website. We'll see you guys next week. Oh, wait, I got to play the outro. My mouse broke on me halfway through the show. It's all.